It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use AmPace.
With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high-quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. Ulike.
Hey, it's Matt Mosley of The Matt Mosley Show. We want you to watch our show every day, 1 to 3 on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And you get to see big-name guests like Gary Patterson, Art Briles, Scott Drew, Doug McNamee, major Cowboys insiders, ESPN legends like Sal Palantonio. When news breaks on Cowboys or Baylor or NFL, we want you to look here first. 1 to 3 weekdays, it's the Matt Mosley Show.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are presented by Slovacics. We're live back at home base, back in Villanova, Pennsylvania, in the shadows of Villanova University. Back home to see Mom. It's her birthday tomorrow, 83 years old. We won't tell Mom we told you that, but you got to get some home cooking, and sometimes you're on the right end of the home cooking, and sometimes you're the one doing the cooking for Mom, and that could be happening here. But thank you guys so much. We're presented by Slovacics. We are, of course, closing in on 100,000 subscribers, and could not be happier about that. And just a really cool time to be a part of the show. Thank you to Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. Of course, NCAA championship coming up tonight, and we're going to start things off with basketball royalty. Earlier this week, it was announced that the great Tubby Smith. Well, of course, it was announced a while ago that Tubby was going to be a Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer. And he's going to join us now to start the show off from Indianapolis. Coach Smith, what's happening?
Good morning. How we doing?
How we doing? We're doing great. Almost as good as you. How you feeling? A newly minted member of the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm very honored and it's such a privilege. I want to say happy birthday to your mother too. Hey, and
Yeah.
happy.
Her birthday is on Tuesday. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're in enemy territory for you, she worked at Villanova University in athletics. She worked for Rolly Massimino and all those guys. So, by the way, we got to get Rolly in the Hall of Fame.
He deserves it. Certainly, he's a guy that he set a standard for so many coaches. We had the good we never really had we coached against Coach Lapis when I was at Kentucky and other schools, but I never had a chance to coach against Raleigh. He was a wonderful guy. I got to meet him, see him a couple times when he was living in Florida. So, but a special guy. But then you bring Jay Wright in. They all done a fantastic job there.
Well, let's talk. This is about you today. Your fantastic job. I won't keep you for too long because I know you got a ton going on today, and I'm so grateful that you would find the time really to catch up with us today. When you get that call to be in the Hall of Fame, who's the first person you thought of?
Well, I'm really not in the Hall of Fame. I was honored as outstanding contributor. I'm in a few Hall of Fames, but I'm not in the Hall of Fame. So I appreciate you, advertising this and publicizing it. But even when you get a call from the Naismith Atlanta Tip-Off Club, is where they honored me yesterday and previously at other organizations. The first one you call is your wife or your closest friend and pal, and really let them know, and your family. I have 4 siblings and 6 grandkids now, so I'm very blessed. But usually my wife will put me in my place whenever someone recognizes me and honors me. So I'm grateful that she's there to keep me humble.
For you as a man,
people always ask me, how's Donna? How's your wife? I said, she's mean as ever. She hates when I say that.
Hey, how is that when you're just the most successful coach in the land, as times you have been, but you go home and maybe you got to take out the garbage, or maybe you got to
wash the dishes.
How do you balance that? Really, how do you balance that?
Well, I grew up on a farm in Southern Maryland with 16 other siblings. And we didn't have indoor plumbing until I was 15 years old. So I don't mind getting my hands dirty or getting involved or being on the floor to mop up something or clean up behind somebody. I was taught those values or those work ethics a long time ago. When you have to feed the hogs and shovel stuff out of the barn, you learn a lot. You don't mind. With my wife, I just had my nails done. So,
hey, Coach,
she can't touch a dish. No, I'm good. I better stop right now, man.
Coach, well, let's talk about how you won pretty much everywhere you went, and I think that is one of the things that jumps out to me. You're not like a journeyman coach who won a little bit everywhere. You won a national championship at Kentucky. And you also found ways to reach elite success at so many different programs. If you're talking to a younger coach who would ask you, hey, how did you navigate success at so many different places? What do you tell them?
I think the first thing you have to have is a patience, and then and my dad used to talk about moderation. Don't get too high, don't get too low, don't get too extreme, one side, the other. And the other thing was, and I tell players all the time, you have to be coachable. Number one, do what you're told, not what you're actually do what you're told. That's first thing. Like if you have chores to do, or if coach tells you to do something, or you need to be in class. The other thing is be available. You're never going to learn anything if you don't. For instance, if you don't follow through on your commitments and be there for practice, and if you're hurt, it's one thing, but if you're injured, it's another thing. So I think I don't ever remember missing a day of school. So availability. The other thing is patience. In our fast-moving world, growing up on a farm where you couldn't rush Mother Nature, that you couldn't eat that chicken until it got edible, until it was big enough to as a fryer, or the garden, those carrots and those greens that growing in the garden, those beans, and then harvesting was, Mother Nature has to take its time. And so it took me 18 years to get a head coaching job and moved my family 5 or 6 times before that. And now we've moved 13 times. So you got to be willing to if you're interested and you love the game, and coaching is, I can't say the same, but if you're coaching high school, junior high, college, junior college, it's all the same. Kids want to be guided. They don't want to be led. They want to be taught and you want to share that with them. So I think just understanding that to give back to the game and honor the game, as we say in the NCAA, be guardians of the game and protect. And so that's what we're so concerned about now with the status of college basketball in particular.
Are you finding now since you brought it up, at this Final Four in particular, is that conversation taking place more and more? Like someone like you, being a guardian of the game, you watch anybody you talk to. I'm lucky enough to call games for ESPN and NBC. And when I travel around, as much as guys, no, I'm not saying people are complaining, but they're talking about the state of the game. And there's a lot of concern.
Well, it's, the game is as popular as it's ever been and steadily growing at the college level, at the high school level, and obviously at the professional level. They're talking about adding more teams the same way with us, talking about adding more teams to the NCAA tournament, which I think they should expand. But, and the opportunity, I just went to the Division II, III, and the NIT games yesterday. I'm on the NIT selection committee, so I got a chance to witness some great games yesterday. Watching Tulsa play last night and Auburn win on a last second shot. And then the game before that. So what I'm saying is that there are things that need to be tweaked, need to be adjusted, especially with the NIL and the transfer portal. But those are things that can be fixed. It's not like the game is in dire straits. It's just a few. I like to think that the glass is half full instead of half empty. And I'm an eternal optimist in that regard. So I love the game, and I know people that love the game are going to protect it and do all they can to keep it a wholesome environment. Obviously players need to be compensated, which they are. And then, we started that back when we had, the cost of attendance. Players have been getting money, extra money for a long time. But when the O'Bannon case was, when they won that case, then it opened up Pandora's box. So now we've got to have some type of collective bargaining or something that's going to happen. You're probably going to see the players unionize, and so it's because they're going to have to put some type of guardrails to. I know that it's in, and when things get into political spectrum like it has, that's where we have to be concerned.
Coach, just a couple more things for you, because I know you got a busy morning. Your career, so illustrious. What do people not no, it really was. I mean, especially a kid my age, because I was, when you were at Kentucky, I was a football player in college, but basketball was a huge sport to me. I played in Philadelphia Catholic League, and you were just one of those coaches who, you're recruiting my friends and stuff like that. And you're a big part of my childhood growing up, and to talk to you now is really cool. But to know that you had a special journey as a minority, right? Like breaking through in an industry where there just weren't as many people who flat out looked like you. What do they not know about the journey? People.
I think a lot of people have this steady history, and I used to share that with our players whenever I coached, whether it was at Tulsa, Georgia, Kentucky, Memphis, Minnesota, Texas Tech. I've been a few, but I've been a minority. I've been the first head black coach at a few schools over the years, just to name the few I just mentioned. So it comes with I guess there's a fulfillment that, hey, I'm representing African Americans and blacks the right way. I think that's always been. And I remember Larry Brown always thought playing the right way, but also doing the right things, and so I stand on the shoulders of great coaches like John Thompson, John Chaney, just those guys, Nolan Richardson, they came before me. So now we have to continue. I'm just worried now about the loss of jobs, because a lot of minority coaches were let go this year. And so we want to continue to grow the game, but also grow opportunities for minority coaches as well. So I feel blessed that I've had this. I've been privileged and honored to represent my family, Black coaches around the country and around the world. So I've been, because this basketball has meant so much to me, obviously my livelihood. But you never get into because of that. I was a high school coach for 6 years, and I could, whenever I talk to high school coaches, I always talk about, I never even thought about getting into college coaching until one of my former college coaches, J.D. Barnett, said, "Tubby, you ever thought about getting in coaching?" So someone you have to have a mentor. C.M. Newton, who gave me the opportunity to be the head coach at Kentucky. So you have to have people that are visionary, even to willing to hire and reach out, coach. So I'm grateful for that.
When you look around, college basketball now, and everybody's talking about that North Carolina job being open. You know what that's like, taking a job at a school like Kentucky, blue blood. Yeah, very what?
Well, I'm very similar to when I took the Kentucky job.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? Can you take us inside a process like this?
Well, I can just imagine, what Davis, was going through, following a legend, like Roy Williams. And then you go right to the Final Four that first year. Similarly eerie in the way it happened to me when I went from Georgia. And I'll be honest with you, I was concerned about following Rick Pitino after he had been to 2 straight Final Fours, and won it in 96 and then lost in 97 to Arizona. Then we came in and won it in 98. So you're thinking this is, we're going to win a few more. But you never know, time, and we never got back there again. So I can look at Hubert and what he went through. And he had a heck of a record. And he's done all that. I was really disappointed, to be honest with you. I live in High Point, North Carolina. I'm good friends with Roy Williams and a lot of the folks in North Carolina. My kids used to go to Dean Smith's camps. So I was disappointed. And now they're having trouble fulfilling it because, it's not as easy as it looks from the outside. Yeah, you have the resources, but the standards are so high and the expectations are so high that it makes it a tougher job.
For someone like you, what was the most fulfilling moment for you as a coach?
Probably coaching my sons. I would think I had the wonderful opportunity to coach my oldest son, Orlando G.G. Smith, who actually followed me at High Point, but he played for me at Georgia. And at Georgia, we went to the Sweet 16s in 1996. And that team that he was on was just honored by the Georgia administration and athletic department back in January as the last team to win a game in the NCAA tournament. That's been, 30 years ago, 31 years ago. Yeah. So we were really, and I didn't really know that until they said that. Then I had a chance to coach my son, Saul, at Kentucky, where we won the national championship for 4 years. And those six.
Oh, we lost Tubby. Maybe we'll get him back. I hope we get him back. An amazing conversation right there with the basketball legend. Cameron, what do you think happened? Is he still there?
I think that was an internet thing. It dropped out. Camera dropped out. Audio dropped out. So I'll be on the lookout for it in case he comes back in the next minute or two.
Okay.
I'll have it.
And send him a text. Just let him know, like, if he's got to go, absolutely got to go. We'd love to get him back. But yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. We'll give Tubby a minute here. We'll chat a little bit about that discussion while we try to see if we can retrieve him. I knew that actually about Georgia, that they had not had any success in the tournament since that 96 team. And that is what fueled his opportunity to get that job at Kentucky. And I appreciate so much, not only when you ask someone like Tubby Smith about the landscape, about the possibility of the job at North Carolina, but I think we have seen recently, and we saw this is a coaching thing and an organizational thing and a shoot first, ask questions second thing. And we've seen it recently with major organizations and major industries. Okay. You could talk about the Dallas Cowboys, the North Carolina Tar Heels now. And there was one more who I was thinking about, who I can't think of right now. I just had it in my brain. These organizations who are letting these people go without really a plan. Okay, we got Tubby back. Coach, all right, I'll keep you for a little bit longer, but I do want to follow up on that great point you were making. When Danielle Robinson is a young coach at North Texas, and he's a great example. He coaches his son. And I had a great conversation with him this year about making up for lost time almost, right? When you get the opportunity to coach one of your sons, how special is that?
Well, I was Bruce Pearl, Stephen Pearl just won the NIT championship, going to come in and congratulate him. But it's a double-edged sword, but it helps in recruiting because, way back then, there were things that he could do with the, to driving kids around and taking them out, hosting them those were one of the things that you could do. And it was very beneficial to me because I could get to games, AAU tournaments and other events when other coaches probably couldn't. So it was beneficial. But the other thing is that you have to deal with their mom. The first time I was in a car, my son Gigi, he was just a freshman at Georgia, and I put him in and he missed a free throw. He's a heck of a free throw shooter. And I was in the car with my wife heading home after the game. We won the game and everything, but she was like, I could tell something was up. I said, what's wrong? She said, well, don't you talk to my son like that. Don't you treat my son like that. I'm like, what are you talking? So hollering at him because he missed his free throws. I'm like, oh boy, it could be troublesome. And then you have to deal with the element of the public, their perception. Is he getting, special treatment? Is he playing him just because he's your son, my son? You have to deal with his teammates and your players. Are they accepting him? And because, I watched the game the other night with Dusty May and his son. Went in the game, the Michigan game, how excited the bench was, the players were to see him score and get in the game. And so it's one way, if he's good enough to play, you have to deal with that element of somebody thinks he's taking somebody else's spot. And I'm just telling you what it was with me, what it was like with me at Kentucky or at Georgia. But if you're winning, you're okay. And we won with my son, so it was okay.
All right, last one for you. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you for some insight on tonight's title game. Any thoughts about a particular team with an edge? What jumps out at you, Tubby Smith, who I've already put in the Hall of Fame this morning? What jumps out at you as far no problem, as far as what team has the advantage?
Well, when you watch Michigan in person, I mean, they are impressive. I mean, really, physically and everything else, they are very talented and very impressive. But but Danny Hurley, he's done this, twice already. He's been there three. So they seem like a team of destiny. The way the ball bounces for them the other night against Arizona, not Arizona, but the way the ball bounced for them against Duke, and the breaks, and you make your own breaks in this business, and they've taken advantage of it. And so, I wouldn't bet against UConn. I'd be honest with you.
You never bet against Tubby Smith either. Coach, thank you so much. I appreciate the time, really. Thank you so much. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
All right. That was the great Tubby Smith. Man, what a treat. And I've been in circles where people talk about just how special of a guy he is. And it's always, how about that for verification? Holy mackerel. What a great man. And the coaching industry is full of really good men. And to see a great man like that who has succeeded at the highest of levels is it's fruitful for all of us. It really is. And to hear him talk about the game too and how it's at an elite level. And I'm a glass half full guy as well. And what we have here are all the and tools and the essentials. This sport needs to move forward. I think we just got to weed out, some of the logistics that come with great change. And that's what we're working on today. But, Tubby Smith, his ability to win and, all those places, all those different stops, those major universities that he took to NCAA tournaments. I think he took like 4 or 5 teams to the tournament. I know he's up there in, he's the answer to a trivia question as like who's taken the most teams to NCAA tournaments. I mean, he's like 4 or 5. And you've got guys. I think it's important to remind people you have guys that are still trying to get to 1, right? Or 2 NCAA tournaments. We're talking about a guy who's, got 1 for every finger on his hand and a national championship. And we talked about the Sweet 16 and his ability to move forward. And by the way, threading that needle with your son is damn near impossible. I saw Bernie Bickerstaff do it when I was working in Charlotte and JB was his lead assistant. And look at JB now, right? Like he could be coach of the year in Detroit. Trust me, when guys like Tubby Smith and Bernie Bickerstaff, when they are inserting their son into a big situation, it ain't because they're trying to make it warm and fuzzy for the family. It's because it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, the plug will be pulled awfully fast. That's why you have that great success. Cam, how about that, huh?
How about that? And we got him back in there. It was good.
We put Tubby right in the Hall of Fame.
You did. He is in the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I did double check that.
I totally blew that. I had it written down right here too.
It was an award from the Hall of Fame. So
yeah, well,
Tubby. Yeah. I thought that was really interesting of like what you had brought up of, him taking the job at Kentucky right after Rick Pitino. Like it's obviously not the same because you got Hubert Davis in between the Roy Williams and the UNC, but that's one of the few guys who can actually talk about that decision of like, do I make this step up to the big program? You know what I mean? And he was starting to get into it too of like, and you talked about it when he dropped off of like, these jobs just aren't as automatic as they were even a couple years ago. That's a weird way that NIL is probably evening the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And in most ways it's not evening the playing field. But again, I keep referencing this and I'll talk about it when we talk more Carolina, but like Kentucky basketball 2 years ago, where was Mark Pope on that list? In the top 5? Probably not. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer was not of their top 3 picks, So the Lakers hired a podcaster to coach their team, like it's being liberal with it. But like these jobs are just not the slam dunks they used to be. 10 years ago, Carolina could have called up anybody they wanted and gone and got them. So I appreciate Tubby, being through a couple of different eras of college basketball has certainly seen that. By the way, he is a Big 12 Coach of the Year when he was at
Texas Tech. Yeah,
that was a great not even second act, like third or fourth act for Tubby. He kind of laid a lot of foundation for Chris Beard.
He did, and he showed that Texas Tech was a place you could win in hoops.
Yes, which Bobby Knight kind of did, kind of didn't. I think he got them to a Sweet 16, to be fair. But the last couple of years, both nights.
Oh, the Pat Knight was ugly.
Yeah, it was bad. That was bad. So
now that's an example.
Bobby kind of resurrects that.
That's an example of where you don't want to insert your son. Like Pat Knight was always where Bob Knight was, and Pat Knight he wasn't lighting it on fire. Yeah. After his high school career in Bloomington, I think he really flamed out after that.
And I'll say we'll see with Stephen Pearl. Like I know they just won the NIT. And I'm glad that they're a team that was kind of bitching and moaning that they didn't make it in the tournament, but actually went to the NIT and won. Take note, Notre Dame football. But mind you, this was a guy who was appointed in September. Like, now we see a roster flip. Now we see transfer portal. Now we see if Stephen Pearl can be a good head coach at Auburn.
Once you brought up a great point. One real quick point, and then we'll take a break. And we got to talk about the North Carolina job and Scott Drew. And Scott Burrell is supposed to join us again. The guy is going to start drawing a check from the Rogue Media Network and 365 Sports if we're not careful. But the guy is one of the coolest there is. And by the way, we can tell him that Tubby Smith thinks UConn's going to win. That's basically what I gathered from that conversation. But the NIT had a huge win. Since you brought this up, I was thinking about this last night. The fact that the men's NIT and national championship game in the same spot. So, like, what a win that is. Like, Charles Barkley is boots on the ground in Indianapolis, where his alma mater goes to the NIT championship, where he can go to the game and be there. You know, when Marcus Pettigrew goes to like dap him up after he makes like a huge play late, and Barkley's right there. What's the kid's name? Is it Pettigrew? Is that's right? I think I got it right. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I have not been tuning into the NIT this year.
No, but so basically, like, but even if you're like a social media person, right? Like, if you on your feed this morning, maybe it's me because I called NIT games and I was like clicking on that stuff a lot, so I was getting it's big in my algorithm. But like, Barkley was there. Like, you know, like Auburn was there. Both schools really gave a you know what in that game. And I think, and it wasn't St. Louis and Marist, you know, like it was, you know, this program that, and Tulsa's always kind of been in and out of it. Another place where Tubby coached and kicked ass. But like, it was very, I feel like the NIT had a bit of a comeback this year. And I feel like Auburn participating, a school in a major conference and winning, I think that only helps some of those teams that have balked at going in the NIT, like in Oklahoma or North Carolina.
Teams breaking the crown, or just declining invitations altogether. I don't think it's the worst thing for your program to go to the NIT. I really don't. I think it's more, you know, it's like Johnny Dawkins talked to us about. You know, it's more opportunities for, you know, your guys to play. Now, the question we're going to answer when we come back is, did Scott Drew coach his last game for Baylor in the Crown, that postseason tournament? Did Porter Moser put Scott Drew out of his Baylor misery a couple days ago? Is it misery? What's on the other side? We'll tell you. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovakics. Coming back after this.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Hey, it's Zach Gill.
Looking for football talk without the fluff? It's Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, a former NFL quarterback breaking down the game from the inside, plus real conversations about sports, leadership, life, and everything in between. No hot takes for clicks, just honest analysis, strong opinions, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. Football talk and more, the way it's supposed to be. Subscribe now to Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell on YouTube.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Polo Neuro is a new kind of wearable. that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Hi, my name is Mike Lacey. I'm with Beyond the Game, a new podcast to the Rogue Media Network. Just when you thought you'd had a little bit too much about BYU, here we are to provide you even a little bit more. I, as part of the BYU group, am grateful that we're part of the Big 12 and really grateful that we're part of the Rogue Media Network. Thank you.
It is the Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics. Also, want to take the time right now to say thank you to Kalshi. Kalshi, by the way, is a great place where you can go. You know, how does Kalshi work? You ask, Pete, how does Kalshi work? And then I say, well, you know how it works. You go ahead, you go on there. What it is it's actually the first of its kind. It's the first federally regulated exchange in the U.S. to establish or allow this kind of trading. And what you do with Kalshi is you go on, right? First of all, what you do is you go to Kalshi.com and you do promo code Sousa. Okay. Then right away, you get $20 to trade with. Okay. And what you do is you trade on contracts. You say it's like yes or no. And you get paid on whether you win. It's like a yes or no contract, basically. And an example of this would be when you look at North Carolina's next basketball coach, okay? Billy Donovan, for example, is at the top of the list right now. As far as people who are betting on these coaches, people are saying right now the trading on the market is Billy Donovan is 61%, right? Like he will be the next head coach. This is where all the money is, okay? And these indicators are there for a reason. Like an example is Kalshi, I think, is no longer allowed to be, as far as political elections are concerned. I think that they have terminated Kalshi's ability to be a place you can go trade because it was just getting too dicey. Because it's that real. Like it's that real. This is not a casino. Kalshi doesn't buy another side of the bet. They just take a fee on the trades. That's how they make money. So as we get into this situation with North Carolina and we have these real indicators of who the next head coach will be, I just want to take you down this list, okay? Number one right now is Billy Donovan. He's at 62%. This is according to Kalshi. And after that is Mark Byington, dropping all the way down to 9%. After Billy Donovan, it is a total crapshoot, guys. And I'm sorry. The next percentage, it literally is jumping up before our eyes. The next, so it's 62% Billy Donovan, 12% Scott Drew. That's the next highest one. Okay. Then you have Mark Byington at 9%, Ben McCollum at 8%, Grant McCaslin at 4%, TJ Otzelberger at 3%. And then you have Michael Malone. That would be interesting. Todd Golden, Danny Hurley. Let me go down the list. Like, who's the last person on the list? King Rice is at 1%. Dude, give it to King Rice. That's not a bad idea. Kenny Smith is at 1%. But you get the idea. So the Baylor situation at coach and Scott Drew potentially being eyed for this job. A couple things to get into that are worth noting. One, Scott Drew's buyout is $4 million. You say only $4 million in a universe where Mark Byington, after he signs an extension with Vanderbilt, his is $10 million. His buyout is. Grant McCaslin, his buyout at Texas Tech is $10 million. Mark Byington, Ben McCollum at Iowa, he is $4 million. So if you look at that list, right, and ultimately when you're trying to make a decision on who is going to be the steward of one of the most historic college basketball programs ever, I don't know. I think sometimes we get a little too hung up on the buyouts, but I think buyouts, when you look at the magnitude of how much you're going to pay, it has a lot to do with the history behind the coach, right? Like a $10 million buyout for Grant McCaslin, unless like Ren Baker is the athletic director at North Carolina, like that's probably not something that like Bubba Cunningham is comfortable doing. And what I mean by that is, Ren Baker is the AD at West Virginia. He was the AD at UNT, right? And he hired Grant McCaslin. And I think that like when you look at a guy like Ren, Grant is an extension of him in a way. Like there's not that kind of relationship at North Carolina with any of these coaches, right? Unless you want to bring on King Rice, which is a long shot. But so you look down the list and it's like, all right, well, I don't know that I want to pay $10 million for Mark Byington? Is that really a proven entity? Am I crazy about Mark Byington? No, I'm not. If I'm North Carolina, I'm not at all. I'm actually more enthusiastic about Scott Drew than maybe anybody on that list. And here's why, if I'm North Carolina. I am, and I can promise you, as much as this seems like a clumsy situation, the North Carolina folks are very aware of what Scott Drew brings to the table and what he doesn't bring to the table. One of the things I think he brings to the table is, as a great coach, X's and O's wise, a great motivator, somebody who can connect with kids, right? Somebody who can really get the most out of them, but maybe somebody who's struggling to navigate this NIL space. And I think if you can give him help with that, which North Carolina will be, if we're going to get into a pissing contest about who has more resources, it's North Carolina in a landslide, okay? I'm sorry it is. And Baylor is a monster of a program. I'm not saying that Baylor isn't, but if you're Scott Drew and you've got your last 2 years at a place where you won the national championship have been disappointments, period. They've been disappointing. And if you're Scott Drew and you think, man, am I starting to question myself? Am I starting to question my ability to win in this space, this new landscape of college basketball? I may want to, this situation now and having experiences in the trenches with Scott Drew, and I say that just having the ability to call a bunch of Baylor games. I call preseason Baylor games on the radio when John Morris has other duties, whether it's football season finishing up or whether he's doing like an ESPN Plus broadcast. I welcome any opportunity to call those games. So you interview Scott after every game. And then I call games for ESPN during the regular season for the Big 12, like where I get to talk to him prior to a game. I had 2 Baylor games this year, one for ESPN and one for NBC. But his vibe has changed a little. And what I mean by that is he's more, and this word is going to seem extreme, but he's a little more desperate than he has felt in years past. With his messaging to the media, always go back to in the wake of the Rob Wright stuff, I thought that Baylor maybe hung on to that a little too long. And I think it was more resentment than excuse, truly. I don't think that Scott is an excuse guy. I think that was a resentment against, and not necessarily the person that Rob Wright is. I think that Scott sees beyond them. I think it was a resentment against the system and the rules that the way that they are right now. And I thought you saw a response by Baylor, which was maybe they missed on the response, which was, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to play the game. Let's go get James Najee. And that went over like a fart in church, right? And the Baptists don't like farts, especially not in church. So you have a situation where Scott Drew is probably not quite as confident as he was when he turned down that Kentucky job. And I'm telling you guys, you cannot disregard the human condition in a moment like this. Like, Scott Drew is an amazing man and an amazing coach, but the dude's got an ego just like the rest of us. And the past 2 years have been a struggle. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of concern about, how to win in this new landscape of college basketball. And to be a failure is a stretch, but to end, and Scott Drew's got a lot of gas left in the tank too. He's not old, but to continue at Baylor and be lukewarm, that feels like a defeat to me, right? If you're Scott Drew, to go to North Carolina to take a huge cut, right? You put yourself in a situation where, man, maybe you tell yourself, because you believe in yourself, man, I could be in the air or in the, like, I could maybe be the next Roy Williams or Dean Smith. Like, trust me, like, that's how Scott Drew wins a national title. Taking a program was basically like about to get the death penalty. Like, you have to believe in something more powerful than yourself to believe you can do that. And he did it at Baylor. And to go to North Carolina and to think I can resurrect the program, you have to believe that you could be, a Dean Smith type or a Roy Williams type. And not like you're going to try to encroach on their corner, but this is something you want to do. Scotty B, the Baylor King, says, no, he doesn't see it happening, baby. Of course he doesn't. All right. And so this is a great segment and a great opportunity to go to, oh, look at this. Wow. Okay. That's big news. Bryson Tiller is a killer. Sorry for that. I know I'm not rapping right now, but maybe I could rap and Scotty B could come on. Scotty B basically does spoken word every day from his house. And I would encourage you guys to give Scotty B, the Baylor King, a follow on Twitter, because if you follow the Big 12 and you want to know about transfer portal info and maneuvers and opinions, Scotty B, the Baylor King's the man. Bryson Tiller is 7 feet tall. He is a monster inside. He runs the floor and he's a bad dude. His dad, this is how you know I prepare for these games I call. His dad was actually a mother effer of a cornerback. He played in the Sun Belt and was like an all-conference guy a couple years in a row. And then his dad was a guy who you just couldn't get off an NFL roster, right? Like for like 8 years, he was in training camps and on practice squads. And so Bryson, he not only has his dad's spirit and dog, but he's also got like 6 inches on his pops. So he's a guy that is a very valuable commodity for a college basketball team. I would be in the market for a Bryson Tiller. No question about it. I had Kansas, Oklahoma State this year, and he showed out. He was our post-game interview and seemed like a great kid too. Not that you get to know those guys. All right, let's bring in Cam Stewart. I'm sorry, guys. I totally did this backwards because the one guy that knows about this situation has been sitting on the other side of the glass. No, you do. And you did, Locked On Baylor. Again, every so often we'll give you a little bit of a run there.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. We will. I mean, you're the host and it's a hell of a show. And when you get this Scott Drew information, I saw it I had a busy weekend. That's a whole nother show, man. We had a wedding. Christy's sister got married. We can't go down that rabbit hole right now. If we get off at that exit, that is not a quick trip, dude. We're going in Buc-ee's and it's going to be.
You're getting off the highway. You're adding a half hour to your route.
No idea. Let's just say that I, with Christy's family, raised the goddamn barn for a wedding this weekend in like 24 hours. My back hurts. I can't walk. And then I wasn't allowed to take a shower after all that because we were on a time crunch. I'm a grown man. That's why I asked Tubby Smith that question. I needed to get back in line because honestly, I'm out there trying to be the best broadcaster of all time. And my fiance won't let me take a goddamn shower before a wedding after I've worked in the farm all day raising a barn where guys from Texas are like, go west. I'm like, west? What? West, left, right, up, down.
Give me a left or a right.
Oh, yeah. Amazing people, amazing time. And honestly, there's some really fun stories. We can get into that later. But when you get that news over the weekend, what's your thought?
I mean, my initial thought is this isn't going to happen. Just because, again, turned down Kentucky 2 years ago. The situation's a little bit different. It's obviously, I guess, a little, to stretch a word like you've done in this segment, it's a little more bleak than it was 2 years ago, although I wouldn't call it like destitute, bottom of the barrel. But when I listened to the Thamel report, it made a lot of sense. What he's saying was, this is the realistic category. And Pete Thamel is the Adam Schefter of college sports now. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's cool too.
Right.
I like him.
Southie guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lives in Southie. Yeah. But he's sourced up, right? So when he mentions these guys, it's not just throwing names, throwing darts at the dartboard here. All right. These are names that are actually coming up in conversations in Chapel Hill. But what he's saying is, like these pie in the sky names, the Tommy Lloyds, the Dusty Mays, the Billy Donovans, might be too expensive or might not be on the timeline because you got to wait a little bit. The reasonable pack is Ben McCollum and Scott Drew. These are, guys, especially in the case of Scott Drew, proven winners in college basketball. McCollum just took a team to the Elite Eight. They're both cheap. They get the $4 million buyout. And we always say this is like, even the rich schools have to take that into account, man. Like, you had to pay Hubert Davis to not be your coach. You're going to have to then pay another coach. Kansas State is going through the same thing. Try as they might, they're going to have to pay Jerome Tang, and then you got to pay another coach. You know what I mean? And so it seems to me, though, Pete, and this is going to sound more insulting than I mean it to be, but like that seems like a panic move for Carolina if they go that direction. Not to say that Scott Drew's not a good coach, but it just feels like okay, we can't hire somebody in the family. We can't afford or can't attract some of the high money guys. Maybe they can afford Tommy Lloyd, but they can't attract him right now. So we can get a guy who has a national championship ring. He's an all shucks kind of guy. He is not going to he's not going to drag our program through nasty headlines, which hasn't been a problem at Carolina basketball. But you look at what's going on at Carolina football. That might be a nice little change of pace for Bubba Cunningham, right? Yeah. Like someone who's not going to be a punchline off the court, and still get the benefits of having a pretty darn good coach, So it wouldn't be the worst hire by any means, but I think it would be a little panicky if I'm a Carolina fan looking at it.
And who are you going to get? Kim, let me push back. Who are you going to get better?
I think Carolina still thinks they can get Dusty May and Billy Donovan.
No, you can't get Dusty May. You can't.
Billy Donovan?
Maybe, yeah. You can. Okay. Well, Billy Donovan, I feel like
Brad
is right
Stevens?
There,
do we call him Brad
everybody likes to say Brad Stevens.
My dad's still on that train, man.
The Billy Donovan, just from like a human side, like handicapping it, and I don't know anything about this situation besides what I've read and heard. But I heard what's his face? John from CBS, who does a great job. Rothstein was talking about, first of all, Dusty May, he just signed a 5-star guy on Saturday night. Like, he's playing in the national champ. What the hell are we doing? Why?
And
there's no way.
Yeah. He's not coaching at Butler, okay?
No, come on. That's stupid. I just think I would be on my ass surprised if he left. And so would guys like Rothstein, okay? Like, so take it from him. With the Billy Donovan one, why the Bulls suck? Like, and I get it, he's a man of principle, but like, you're not going to have a conversation about the North Carolina job for another week. Like, it's got to be 8 days. And then the way that Rothstein put it this morning was, and it's not like the day after their last game, he's going to be on a Zoom at 9 a.m. taking the North Carolina job. Well, if I'm North Carolina or interviewing for the job, whatever, but if I'm North Carolina, it's like, well, I think we want to be I know we're feeling panicked and desperate right now, but I think we'd like to be a little higher on somebody's priority list. Then they won't even have a conversation with us till after an NBA season, which their team is tanking pretty much.
Yeah.
And like what this, it doesn't feel like this is going to happen. Or maybe it feels like, I mean, maybe, and now I'm kind of hedging here, but maybe Billy Donovan's like, look, if you want me, it's going to be on this timetable. And I've got to do it this way because this is how I do it. And maybe that's what we see here. But I think that you have a much better, Scott Drew he's in the environment. I think that he has what you're looking for from a charisma standpoint. Like, he will get people way more excited than Hubert Davis did. And Hubert Davis was a member of that family. Like, I think Scott Drew he's going to tattoo the press conference. Like, I mean, the ball will not land till the season starts in November. Now, what happens then is really what matters. But from a PR point, and you hit it, you can't find a bet. I think that if you hire Scott Drew and you're worried about what your fan base is going to think of that, just put him in front of a microphone and let him cook. And that will eliminate all your concerns. And then if you're Scott Drew, you're probably thinking, here's why I think he takes it. I can get Alvin Brooks. I can get Jerome Tang back. I can put the band back together, and we can win a national championship again. Like, because now with to keep it status quo at Baylor, or to make room for Brooks and Tang to come back, I think you might have to shuffle the deck there a little bit. And that just seems complicated from a pricing standpoint. Right?
Yeah. I think from a fan standpoint, you'd be like, who cares? Just fire one of these guys. They're not.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not how it works in the
No.
Not at Baylor anyway.
I don't know, man. I think Scott Drew is a way more viable candidate than you're giving like credit to.
Oh, he's viable. I don't think he's taking it. That's the thing. It's
you
not
don't think he'll leave.
And right.
But don't you think, here's my last question for you, Mr. Baylor expert. No, seriously. He turned the job down, basically turned the same job down 2 years ago. Let's just say it. So this is, and it's possible on the back end of turning that job down, he feels like he got burnt. He got burnt by Rob Wright. He got burnt by whatever, NIL. And again, I say that he doesn't have a resentment against Rob Wright, the man, but against the process. Okay. Then he gets James Najee. I mentioned earlier, that goes sideways. Like, he's probably like, screw this, man. Like, I did
disillusioned, man.
Yeah. Well, I did the right thing.
Yeah.
He is disillusioned, but he's like, I did the right thing. I stayed where I was, and I got screwed. And now here comes God. Once again, it's like the guy who's in the hole, right? And like,
I think of the one he keeps getting the life rafts.
Yeah.
And he says, why didn't you save me? I sent you all those life rafts.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's, I think, where Scott Drew is right now. And I think he might say, you know what? I'm not saying no to another life raft. I'm getting the hell out of here. Because the thing that North Carolina has that Baylor does not have is tradition, money, and more money than Baylor has, like more resources too. And not necessarily, we all get the rev share deal. I understand there's a cap on that. But I really believe if North Carolina basketball gets behind you, there's some NIL stuff you can do that you can't do anywhere else. Or there's very few schools you can do that.
Yeah, man. I call it like a 1 of 5 job. You know, there's about 5 jobs in college basketball that are on the plane that North Carolina is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I keep going back to the first part of your point is he turned it down 2 years ago. But I get it. You know, since then, it's been 2 really frustrating seasons where they have blown a lot of money. And there's been a ton of frustration, a ton of angst around the program. And it definitely is a viable option from Carolina's side of things. There will be some.
Did you get the impression after he turned down Kentucky that whether it was Mack Rhodes or whoever, that they were like, hey, man, we're opening up the treasure trove. You knock yourself out, whatever you want. And they totally screwed it up. Like, not screwed it up, but there was a misevaluation there, whatever you want to say. Like,
yeah.
Jeremy Roach he stunk.
Yeah.
And I think
big miss.
Yeah, that was a huge miss, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I do think that was the case. And I've heard from pretty good people close to that, that Scott basically did come back and say, hey, like, we're going to have to open up our checkbooks more. And that's what happened. You know, they got VJ Edgecombe shortly after. That's $1 million guy. You know, and they got Roach, and that's $1 million guy, and Norchad O'Meara. And, you know, so they did open up the pocketbooks a little bit, but yeah, they didn't put it all together. And then there were some things like the Rob Wright thing where, you know, who knows behind closed doors if they came back to Baylor after a BYU offer, after perhaps a Villanova offer for Rob Wright, and Baylor couldn't one-up it or whatever it was. You know, there could be some other back and forth behind the scenes that we don't know about. But certainly, if the point is the resources are going to be better at UNC, yeah, they are. I do want to say one thing that that it sounded like people reporting about the Kentucky opening a couple of years ago. We're talking about Scott's willingness to go to kind of a fishbowl situation where, you know, at Baylor, man, I love it, but you can hide a little bit if you're not having a great season. At Kentucky, you can't. At North Carolina, you cannot. Okay? You can't. Even I know they get the Argyle and the wine and cheese crowd, but there are enough diehard Tar Heels that you can't hide during a bad stretch. And I think that does become part of the kind of the math here.
Are you ready for the Stephen A. Smith hottest take? Credit to the Ringer. I stole that from them, but this is the hottest. Scott Drew, if he stays at Baylor, you don't want a guy like that because you want a guy who's willing to take the chances to go in the fishbowl. You want the guy who's ready to be like, you know what I mean? Like maybe he's gone, maybe he's atrophied a little bit, you know, like if he wants to stay, why do you want to stay in Baylor? So you can suck comfortably? Right?
I mean, that might be the answer, by the way, Pete. That might be the answer. I think there's a lot of coaches who are super competitive, right? But do kind of like that security. I do want to say one real quick thing.
And by the way, the wives, we just heard from, we just heard from Tubby Smith. The alpha in that family, with one of the greatest alphas of all time, Tubby Smith, is his wife. These wives in these families really matter. They have a ton of say in this, more so than I think we care to admit.
And they were the ones that visited Lexington, mind you, 2 years ago. Our friend Darby Brown did the great report on that. They were the ones who kind of scouted out for him, and they were like, I don't know, Scott. The horses, the bourbon, I don't know. I do want to say about this, like, when you come down to these two guys on the banner here, like if you're, and I love Scott Drew, man, I do. But if you're Carolina and you have the choice between, I know the money's not equal, but you got the choice between Grant McCasland and Scott Drew, like you're probably picking Grant McCasland, right?
100%.
And why is TJ Otzelberger's name dropped off, really?
I think he's probably turned them. I think he's, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. If I give you an answer there, I wouldn't know.
Right. And I just think McCasland, again, that's not a knock on Scott, but McCasland's the slam dunk. You know, he's hotter right now, A. And B, he's a little bit younger, a little bit. Yeah. And more important than being younger, because it is only a couple of years, I think, like 2 or 3. He's older than people think because he looks great. Grant McCasland does.
Yeah.
He's not established. You know, Scott's been there for 20 years. 20 plus years.
McCasland is doing what he's doing because of Scott Drew. He's a Scott Drew. He's off the Scott Drew tree. You know?
Yes, he is now kind of independent of that. Man, what would Baylor do? It's 2 years ago you could have brought Grant back.
Yeah.
I don't think you can now.
No, he's not. No, he's not leaving Texas Tech. Nobody's leaving Texas Tech.
Right. So Jacobs, you try and lure him back?
Yes.
I'm a big John Jacobs fan.
All right, we're going to, by the way, I got a couple assignments for you. One, I think we got a clip when we talked about Scott Drew, why he might not be, we got to clip something from this Scott Drew conversation. All right. I think it's really good, Cam.
Thank you. Yeah, we could do that.
All right. And I think we should clip the whole conversation. Okay. And then I think
I'm leaving this in here too. Yeah.
We should clip a short too. Okay.
Whoa. PD YouTube.
What are our chances right now on Scott Burrell?
He just got back to me, says he is in the airport. So I just told him he can hop in now.
All right, we'll take
he's
a quick
airport.
break.
He's at the airport bar in Indianapolis.
No, he's
just
not.
got off the plane. Yeah, that's what he said, man.
All right, and we'll get a quick prediction from Burrell. Let's take a break. When you get him, we'll come right back. Okay.
All right, sounds good, and I'll text you about that.
Okay, thanks. We'll be right back after this Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Are you looking for top shelf sports talk about the West Virginia Mountaineers, where you can get objective analysis, but with the passion of a fan? Well, look no further than right here at Cousa's Corner. I am Justin Coos Walker, the host of Cousa's Corner, and you can find my show on demand over at YouTube. Most shows are uploaded by 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also check out my live post-game reaction shows. My special guest interviews, you can find it all on YouTube at Cousa's Corner. Go check it out.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born on this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on the screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get to your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Hey, no time like the present. We got to bring in Scott Burrell. Scott, the poor bastard, made the mistake of telling us he would join us. If the squad made the championship, I will keep this brief because I know you just landed.
I just landed. Yes. Yep.
And I told you I'd be on the show Monday if they won. Yes. Yep.
By the way, anybody that's thinking about playing for Scott Burrell, he's a man of his word. All right. So go to Southern Connecticut. Go play for him. Scott, I want to ask, what are your thoughts about the game tonight? I mean, you have to be so excited. Somebody like you, what's the first thing you're going to do today? When you are you getting together with your teammates? Are you going to go take a nap first, get yourself together, and then go out? What's the story?
There's no time for naps. You're here. You better be energized. You better be ready to go and hang out all night. First time was probably.
Scott, hold on. I think you muted for a second. I can't hear you right now. Can't hear you right now.
Hey, Pete, I'm going to bump him down real quick. I can see if his levels are coming up, even though we won't be able to hear him on the air. So I'm just going to bump him down and see what we got.
All right. Scott Burrell, he's the man. All right. Well, I almost feel bad. This guy's a big deal. And he's in town. He's probably going to meet up with Danielle Marshall and Chris Smith and Jim Calhoun. And he's got to talk to us right now. But, he's in the Indy area ready to rock and roll. And nobody better to talk to right now. Cam's working for him right now, trying to get his level on. But that shows, by the way. You can see it. Scott, you there? You can't hear me? All right. Look. Scott, we may have to let him get on with his day. Cam, how about, all right, let's let him get out and come back on and try one more time.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And then we'll, Scott is such an amazing guy. All right, Cam, can you hear him? No,
not getting the levels yet, but it could be. I can bring him on. Try.
Okay. Scott, no, you got it. You can hear me. We can't hear you. God damn. Oh man. All right, look. Here's the deal. If you can come back and give it one more try, that's great. Otherwise, I want you to enjoy the game and have a kick-ass time tonight. And we're going to be shouting, "Let's go UConn." I can promise, from Texas to Philadelphia. All right? I can't hear you, but we love you. Everybody should go play for Scott Burrell. If you're thinking about playing Division II basketball and you want to play for the best coach in the world, go play for Scott. All right? Scott, we appreciate you so much, man. Good luck. UConn, UConn. Let's go. All right, Scott Burrell, baby. There he is. He's getting ready for the game tonight. And dude, that guy's a legend.
He's great, man. He is a trooper too for going through
honestly,
that.
We got to come up with a creative way to thank him. Like a real way to thank him. Like, I don't know how we could do that, but Visser, Chris, you can think of something. I know that.
I mean, surely one of your buddies has a son who has a lot of basketball talent, and we could get him to Southern Connecticut.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm sure of it.
What a good guy he is.
He's awesome, man. He's been great for us the last.
And even the way he handled that, I'm sure he's in a good mood and everything. Like, it's not like we just got him after like a Southern Connecticut loss, but he was just so cool about that. You know?
I will say there's a lot of people who wouldn't. They'd be like, screw this. But we had the problems. Remember the first time he was on, and he kept battling through it. Like, he had a great like back and forth with me on how to do it. Like, he's a podcaster, man. So he wants that to work. He wants that to work.
That's true. Yeah. By the way, what's the name of his pod? Do you remember? Let's give it a shout.
God, what was it?
It's him and Donnie Marshall. So that's quite the duo. Hold on, let's see. Before we get out of here, and I'll tell you my prediction for the game tonight. By the way,
the second half.
The second half. Scott Burrell, Donnie Marshall. Check that out. They just had Danielle Marshall on recently. Okay, my prediction for tonight. I'm going with Tubby Smith. I believe that there's something special happening with UConn, and forget about the mojo and all that like aura, as the kids say today. I do believe like Alex Caravan, Danny Hurley, like they've been there before. All this is not new to them. The rhythms of this whole situation is not new to them. You know, Jax Lendeborg last year was scratching and clawing to get into the NIT semifinals. You know, I just think it's a little different. I for a lot of these guys, even the Mara kid, like 7-3, he had 26 the other night, 26-9. How good is he?
Pretty good. I mean, they're loaded.
He's so big. You know?
Yeah, you can't teach that, Pete. As you know, you can't teach that. I don't know, man. Michigan I thought Arizona was the best team in the tournament throughout the tournament, and Michigan didn't just beat them. Like they pummeled them. Like they beat them into submission.
Yeah.
I was stunned at what I was seeing. I know I've said that after every Big 12 loss in the tournament, but I was stunned watching that on Saturday night. Like to the point where, not that I was disrespecting Michigan, but I did not think they were beating Arizona. I thought Arizona might win that by 8 or 10 points.
Well, you know what was interesting? I'm happy you brought this up. This is my one last thought about this, and then we'll get out of here. When Arizona, because I was at the wedding, Christy's sister's wedding. When Arizona, we had the TV on, but they were down so much. I was like, you know what's interesting? Because all year long, it's like, wow, we love how Arizona takes it inside at you, and they'll black and blue you to death.
Yeah,
but you got no long ball to get you back in the game,
right? And when that got to even like 11 or 12, and the shots aren't falling, like that happened against Purdue, and they're just better than Purdue. Like,
and I'm not saying you got to hit like
Purdue's way, but
and I'm not saying every basket you hit has got to be a 3, but you've got to have the threat to open up the rest of your offense to allow you to get back in the game.
Or you know, you hit a 3, then you get a steal, you kind of get a run out in transition, you get a transition 3, and that's 6 points in 20 seconds, and now you're feeling like you're going on a bit of a run. You know, teams that aren't great 3-point shooting teams can do that. Arizona didn't get that. They didn't have that at all.
I lied. I have one more thing for you, and this is a
I have one thing for you, but
okay, this is a take that I could have opened the show with, but there's too much going on today. I watched a couple of 1980s like national championships last night before I was going to bed because I'm just a nerd. And the basketball, I watched Villanova's 85 championship game, and then I watched Villanova regular season 1984 and NBC broadcast Villanova Georgetown at the Spectrum. Bob Costas, Al McGuire. They go to the PA guy to do the starting lineups. And in the middle of the starting lineups, like they're announcing Patrick Ewing from Cambridge, Mass. Al McGuire pipes in, best player in college basketball. And it's like, yo, was this mic even supposed to be on? Like I thought we were just doing the lineups. And it was kind of amazing. And he was so freaking good. Al McGuire stole the show. But really, what jumped out to me, the quality of basketball, I'm saying, was so much better. Like I'm not saying the players aren't more talented now, but we're not talking like John Havlicek players playing with fundamentals. We're talking Pat Ewing playing with fundamentals.
I don't want to hear any slandering of John Havlicek.
No, but what I'm saying is we're not talking about like the JJ Redick thing. Like we don't have a bunch of plumbers like, that are playing basketball. Like we literally had amazing first-class athletes, like guys like of Michael Jordan's ilk, right? Playing basketball in this smooth, spacious. The game was so beautiful how spaced out it was.
Yeah, I watched a lot of old like 80s Celtics games. Yeah.
The basketball, I would urge anyone. I would urge you, Kim, tonight. Honestly, just watch the first 3 minutes of Villanova Georgetown. Just 3 minutes of that championship game. I think it will blow your mind. The continuity, the fundamentals, the cohesion, like offensively and defensively. Like Chris Patol told me that this year. He's like, yeah, you could say you're in a matchup zone, but like, are you really in a matchup zone? Not really. Like, that's not what a matchup zone looks like. A matchup zone is, you know exactly what the guy to your left is doing, what the guy to your right is doing. Like, they're in a matchup zone, but they don't play a matchup zone. Like, that is those teams that you watch, like they are together, connected as one, offensively and defensively, and the talent is still elite. I would urge people to check that out. Yes, Visser, the fist. There you go.
As Spatola's father-in-law liked to do as well, the fist. Five fingers or a fist. Yeah.
See, I know that. Do you see what Chris Visser has done to me? I don't know that it's Mike Krzyzewski's. I know that it's Chris Visser's. So clearly, I've drank plenty of juice. All right, go ahead. Tell me what your last thing is.
Oh, geez. Now I don't even remember what it was.
Come on,
what
dude.
we're talking about. Talking about the national championship.
You're not going to quit, are you?
Arizona. No, I'm trying. No, I'll tell you that off the air. No, what was I just going to bring up to Pete? Oh, this is good radio. This is good radio right here. I don't know. Oh, here's what it was, because I put it in our email thread. I don't know if you saw this. But I was really hoping for a UConn Arizona championship because I think Arizona, like, I thought they were the better team. Clearly I was wrong. And I would have liked the Big 12 aspect, but UConn and Arizona are great with their player alumni. Like, you saw the UConn section, man. Like, there's like a dozen, not just former, like all-American NBA stars, and it's Okafor and it's Ray Allen and Ben Gordon and Scott Burrell is going to be there, like NBA champs. And Arizona's the same way. We've talked to a couple this year, obviously. And you would have had like Terry Francona trying to, manage a baseball game that day and getting out there. Like, I don't know. Michigan will have the Fab Five. They did that Fab Five alt cast.
Can I be honest with you? I'm over the Michigan, the Fab Five. Like,
I'm kind of done, dude.
Yeah, it's oversaturated. Like, I just don't need that. I don't know.
You don't get that. I'm not saying this next team isn't talked about, but you don't get all this stuff for Phi Slamma Jamma, right? To comparable, couple of Final Fours, obviously 3 straight, did not win the national championship. Iconic team that didn't win, much like the Fab Five. But there's no Phi Slamma Jamma alt cast, okay? They don't have a couple of those guys who are on TV all the time. Obviously Jalen Rose is, Chris Webber was for a long time. It's just, we're really milking this thing.
We are,
a team that didn't win. Like, it's fine that they're recognized for what they did, with the long shorts.
And, it was a cultural movement. There's no question.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was 35 years
and
ago.
Also,
man.
they didn't
Vanilla
get
Ice was a cultural movement.
What'd you say?
Vanilla Ice was a cultural movement. And we're like, stop hearing from him.
I got one more for you. You shouldn't have said altcast. Last thing, I promise. So I was in the airport yesterday and I was watching the women's championship, but you're in the airport and I'm lucky enough where I'm like, this is another great Spatola story. We get to the airport, we're traveling together, and it becomes clear to him that I have an Admirals Club membership, but I don't have TSA pre-check. What do you think that does to the mind of an Army guy so you got Admirals Club, but you don't have TSA? Like, what?
It's not adding up, Pete. It's not adding up. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not adding up. And I am trying frantically in this brain to think of an analogy for it.
No. Welcome to Christy's world. She's like, she's like, what is going on with this guy? So anyways, I was in the Admirals Club because I had some time to kill because I'm a great stepdad. I went to the airport the same time as my stepdaughter. And we hung out for a while. I got her into the Admirals Club. I walk in with this like girl. She's got like shades on, blonde hair, like shades on inside. She's like this high. She walks around like a celebrity. Like, people thought I walked into the Admirals Club with Billie Eilish. I'm just like, okay, like I'm her handler. So I'm not kidding. So she's got this like black like ghost T-shirt on. So we're hanging out.
Who thought you were Dan Orlovsky? For those people.
But she leaves. I walk her to her gate, and then I come back in, and I'm watching because she's going to a different place. I'm watching the ESPN2 altcast of the women's championship, and it wasn't bad. And here's why it wasn't bad. I think in our ADD like world, there's 3 women on the screen, all of whom, to be honest, I'm not sure what you're into, but are aesthetically attractive. Like the one girl, Jeff Sims, is striking. The one girl was a rugby player, but like there's something about her, right? She was on the altcast, and honestly, I forget who else was on there with them, but there were 3 of them, and they were bringing in like Charlemagne the God, whatever. And I was like, part of me was like, who is this for? And then I was like, I think it might be for me, because I was like, oh, this is so interesting here on the right side, but I can totally see the screen, And
I like some of these. I'm not dunking on all Altcast. I still do some of the Manning ones because I'm just like, I do love Joe Buck, but I'm like, I want to see what these guys are up to because when they break down football, it's good, but
Belichick was fun. I even though people said he sucked, just like staring at Bill Belichick watching football was cool.
Kind of funny, man. It's kind of fun. I do like that. And the Bruins do one that I like.
You and I talked about it. Like Belichick would be like, you watch him and a guy would make a play back. Good tackle. Good tackle. Like you could tell he really yeah. All right. We were going to talk about a couple other things, but we're out of time. We'll be back here tomorrow. Thank you, Chris Visser. Thank you, Cam Stewart. Thank you, Tubby Smith. God damn. Thank you, Scott Burrell. And we're pulling for UConn tonight. I'm a big guy. Maybe some shekels involved that maybe a wager that was made before the Final Four on UConn that would really, really take good care of us if Huskies can come through. So let's go UConn. I got one thing I'll play, Cam. This is actually for you, okay? And then we'll get out of here because I should have sent this to you, but whatever. I tried to send it to you a couple of days ago, but this is specifically for tonight, okay? I want people to think about, because there's a lot of people who have contributed to the greatness of UConn, okay? But one of them is named Dennis Hernandez. This is Dennis Hernandez and Aaron Hernandez, okay? Fictitiously, but this is all you need to know about UConn, okay? Let's go. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Sports.
This has been a Rogue Media Network